guest, Dr. Usman Bugaje, to facilitate our discussion on leadership and development in northern Nigeria. Now, for most of us, Dr. Bugaje is a household name that needs no introduction. But for the few that do not know who he is, Dr. Bugaje is a trained pharmacist, a thinker, a political activist, and a civil society leader. Among his many degrees are Masters of Art in African Studies and a doctorate degree in intellectual history. He is well-published. He's a well-published author on many scientific, Islamic, and political topics. Dr. Bugaje taught and held many academic positions in higher institutions like the Great Ahmadu Bello University and the University of Maiduguri. He was the chairman House Committee on Foreign Affairs while he served as an honorable member at the National Assembly between 2003 to 2007. A one-time Secretary General of the defunct Action Congress of Nigeria and a former gubernatorial candidate in Katsina State. As the founder of the National Development Project, which is a private think tank, he advised the Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, on policy matters relating to the economy, education, and agriculture during the first tenure of Olusegun Obasanjo. He is currently the convener of the Arewa Research and Development Project, the foremost think tank that pulls from our robust intellectual minds and industry experts to create a strategic development agenda for northern Nigeria. Under his leadership, the ARDP produced the current strategic agenda for northern development in 2017. Dr. Bugaje is in his own right an elder statesman, a community leader, and a gatekeeper in northern Nigeria. Therefore, I see no better person to facilitate this session that is titled Leadership and Development in Nigeria, reevaluating our leadership recruitment process than him. So without further ado, I present to you Dr. Muhammad Usman Bugaje. You are welcome, sir.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you. So how do we proceed? Would you want me to speak for maybe 20, 30 minutes and then we can allow room for discussion?
Yes, the agenda is that you're going to talk for the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes is going to be an open house where we have conversations and questions and comments.
So can I proceed then?
Yes, you can, sir.
Let me once again, wa alaikum assalam.
Please, I have a plea to make. I think it would be a...
Sorry, we cannot hear you, Dr. Abdul.
Okay, I'm here. I said it's good if we be able to get to know each other, like a brief introduction or something, because that would be nice. Oh, I missed that part.
No, we do have over 47 participants. So we said that we are giving an opportunity for everyone to write his name, his background, and where he is dialing in from on the chat section. And after the presentation, we are going to have an extra 15 minutes after the discussion session for individuals to network, get to know each other if they feel like they want to do so.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you. So once again, let me welcome each and every one of you on this platform. We are going to discuss leadership and development. Let me first clarify. Development is not so much about infrastructure. It's about human development. And that starts with education, good health, a better quality of life. It is in the quality of life that the issue of infrastructure basically comes in. So human societies are all geared towards development. If they do not develop, then they will decay. So development is, if you like, an essential element of human society for it to stay healthy, because it has to confront eventualities. Life is always dynamic. New issues are always coming, so you have to be prepared to meet challenges that you're facing. And it is development that will allow you to handle or meet challenges that are always evolving. Now, these challenges are going to be to determine, it is your ability to meet these challenges that will actually determine whether you can be able to survive and thrive. So development is an essential feature of human society. Without it, human society will go into extinction. Now let me come back to the context. We are talking about our country, Nigeria, and we're talking specifically about the northern states in Nigeria. Now, for the purpose of, again, understanding the context easier, let's take the last 20 years of democracy. If you go back and evaluate the last 20 years, and you can use three major parameters. Let us start first with poverty. In the last 20 years, the poverty in Nigeria has more than doubled. If you follow the figures recently, you will find that 87% of the poverty incidence in Nigeria is in the north. And if you want to be specific, just to understand, Lagos has about 7 to 8% poverty incidence, while Zamfara State has up to 93% poverty incidence. You can get these statistics from the National Bureau for Statistics and a number of other World Bank, UNDP statistics. The point is, in the last 20 years, poverty has more than doubled. And some of the implication of poverty, and I'll just mention one because there wouldn't be time to speak at length on this issue, is the fact that it affects the nutrition of young people. And if people at the first 5 years of their life have not had or have not found good nutrition, it tends to stunt their mental development. Meaning, poverty will translate into a situation where a lot of the children that have been born in these last 20 years, and maybe further until we're able to change the level of or the quality of life, a lot of them are going to be malnourished. And if they're malnourished, it means that they're mentally stunted. They may look physically okay, but their mental abilities are going to be attenuated in one form or the other. What that means is that they cannot favorably compete with their peers in the rest of the country. So the point is, in the last 20 years of democracy, poverty has nearly tripled and is particularly worst in the north. And this is in spite of the fact that Nigeria has made unprecedented revenue from oil during this particular period. You recall in 1999, oil was basically between $10 and $11. Immediately, we transited into democracy. Oil started to climb to 20 and then became 30. It went within this period up to $100 per barrel. We made a huge amount of resources, but apparently we did not invest them into human capital. So that's one measure or one metric, of development in this last 20 years. The second aspect that I think we can look at and see, because again, it's easy to to see, even if you don't have the statistics right, is that during this last 20 years, the issue of security has worsened. We have Boko Haram in the northeast. We have rural banditry in the northwest. We have got the ethnic and religious harder farmer conflict in the north central. In northeast alone, it is estimated that over 30,000 people have been killed due to the insurgency in the northeast. About 2.5 million people have been displaced. If you come to the rural banditry, I'm not sure we have the statistics, only God knows how many people, but you know that nearly all the states in the northwest are stuck in this issue, but particularly Zamfara and parts of Kaduna, parts of Sokoto, and a bit of some of the neighboring states of Kebbi, and even some parts of Kano. Of course, if you take into consideration the exits of Abuja, Lokoja, I mean, we have not kept, I'm not aware of any record that has been kept, but the number is huge. And of course, what also insecurity does is that it pauperizes the rural population, and then it paralyzes economic activity, including farming, which is a very important aspect of our life, because if you cannot guarantee food security, you cannot thrive, much less, you cannot survive, much less thrive. So this is what we have gotten in the last 20 years. When you look at the third parameter, the strength of our institutions, because what keeps human society running and even making them competitive is the strength of their institution. If you look at the security institutions, the police, the military, the SSS, if you look at judiciary, if you look at the political institutions, here including INEC, the political parties, these are very, very important institutions in any society. In the last 20 years, if you were to find suitable metrics, you will find that these institutions have also become much, much weaker than they were 20 years ago. Let me give you an example. In the last election of Kogi and Bayelsa, which was conducted by INEC, some of you will recall that the IGP, that's the Inspector General of Police, came and made a statement that his forces, that's the police, have been overpowered in Kogi by an estimated number of 20,000+ fake policemen. Now, if the IGP can speak about being overpowered by fake policemen, you know exactly what that means. You know how our military have failed woefully to meet the challenges of the insurgency, despite the huge amount of money that has been pumped, in the pipeline. If you look at the rural banditry itself, it's basically a situation where the police or the security institutions have virtually failed, and a large number of population are unprotected. If you look at the judiciary, the last litigations that we have had shows clearly that our judiciary, this is not to say that there may be very credible individuals within the system, both the police and the judiciary, but they must be much smaller or too small a number to be able to change the quality of policing or the quality of the judiciary or the quality of the services they render. If you look at our political parties in particular, you will find that a lot of the parties today, they are not defined by a particular content, meaning nobody speaks about their own approach to development. Nobody speaks about their own way of solving a particular problem. A lot of them, in fact, are known, even though they have their official names, they are known by the big men that fund these parties. And if you look at their manifestos, you would think that they have all been written by one person. because I think most of them copy and paste. They do not really have a content that is unique to them, and therefore they literally they are, for all practical purposes, empty. And this emptiness is shown in the way governors or even the presidents themselves come into power without any particular idea of exactly what to do. Many of our governors in the north, and of course there are others also in the south, but I'm more concerned about the north that has huge amount of problems, come into office without any sheet of paper. There are people who have gone to elections and they have won, and they have run the state for 4 years, 5 years, but they do not have any particular book or booklet or even pages of paper that says, this is my development plan. This is what I want to do when I get there. What I want to do in health, in education, talking in terms of, let's say, they have an idea of the enrollment in primary school. So I want to raise this enrollment from this particular figure to this particular figure in the next so many years. In other words, development plans must be measurable. There are things that you should be able to monitor and evaluate and be fairly sure of what you've been able to achieve. So the point I've been making in the last few minutes is that, one, if you look at the last 20 years, we have been unable to improve on the quality of life. If anything, poverty has more than doubled. We have not been able to secure our societies. Insecurity has literally engulfed the whole of our society, and it's not abating because we don't seem to be making much progress in that respect. And then our institutions have literally collapsed. They are not in a position to play the role they need to play, or they are not delivering on their mandate. And because of this, our society is getting further weakened and is becoming in a very vulnerable situation. Now, the point is, if in the last 20 years, we have not been able to make any headway in terms of development, and remember, we have a large youth population, and because there has not been any development, there has not been jobs created, and this, of course, translates into, it feeds or fuels the insecurity, it fuels the poverty, it fuels the corruption that has engulfed a lot of the institutions that we are talking about, especially the political institutions, which means that our political parties are characterized not so much by their manifesto or what they intend to do when they come power, but very much by violence, by singing, by all those things that weaken rather than strengthen these institutions. So the trajectory we are on, if you extrapolate where we are in terms of poverty, in terms of insecurity, in terms of strength of institutions, you can say that in the next 10 years or perhaps 20 years, we are going to become a failed state, God forbid. But the point is, at this point in time, what is important for us is just to stop and say, this trajectory we are on is heading in a dangerous direction. So what is it that we can do to change this trajectory and to begin to build up our society, to begin to address the problems? Now, if you look at the history of human society from Greek antiquity to date, anytime societies have succeeded in overcoming challenges from Greek through Roman to the modern times today, you find every time that has happened, it is largely because someone, a leader, has emerged and has influenced the direction in which events are going to go. And if you look at the case of, let me start nearer home, Ghana, with all its difficulties, is a democratic model in African context. But you knew the role of Rawlins in his first coming as a military officer, and later as politically elected, president, which he played in changing the course of action and the trajectory of Ghana. And up till now, Ghana, even though poorer in terms of GDP or in terms of other parameters or metrics, but is a much better country, than Nigeria. You look at Rwanda, which went through one of the worst genocides in Africa, just basically 20 years ago. It was in ruins 20 years ago. But today, Rwanda has one of the fastest growing economy in Africa. It has the best IT hub. It has achieved a lot of the sustainable development goals. It's one of the most peaceful and most secure cities in Africa. It's one of the cleanest. Its agriculture has produced yields that are multiple of what they used to have before the genocide. Rwanda has taken a path of development and has gone quite a significant, ahead significantly on the path of development. If you go back to the history of Singapore, South Korea, in all these incidences, it is leadership that became the determining factor in changing that trajectory and in putting that society in the path of development. So this is why it is important at this juncture we examine the leadership recruitment mechanism in our political parties. And this is why it is important we take measures. We do whatever it takes to ensure that the next crop of leadership that we are going to get through the politics must be those that are different from the ones we have had before. And how can that be different? At the moment, anybody who has a secondary school certificate, or those even who have not finished secondary school but can present a certificate from any institution that considers what they have experienced as equivalent to secondary school, can become president. They can become governors. Now, this is an issue of eligibility, which the Constitution has given. But eligibility alone does not earn you a position. You have to be suitable. So this confusion between eligibility and suitability has created a lot of problems for us. So people feel they can, with a secondary school certificate, just simply move and take any particular position. Now, because of this, and because of other factors, and let me mention just two more factors, the fact that the process of leadership today is contingent on two major factors. One, it is either you have money or you have got a godfather or you are connected in one form or the other. Any party, whether it's APC or PDP or PRP or any, and if you want, you can try it. Go to the leadership of the party and tell them you want to contest for a post of whatever, councillor, local government chairman, House of Assembly, representative, Senate, governor. The first question they are likely to ask you is, do you have money? Meaning, nobody makes reference to your abilities, your character, your experience, and all that matters is money and nothing but money. Even if you have money, or if you don't have money, then you have to be the loyal servant of someone who is big in the party, who will now stand for you or insist that you are given this particular. And we see this playing out in the primary elections that that we have run in all the parties. That you go to primary elections, you see how money is being distributed, by those candidates that want to win the elections. And this is done, in fact, now more and more openly. So the point is, we do not stand a chance of developing and resolving a lot of the problems in this country unless we can get leaders that have the knowledge, that have the courage, and that have the conscience to be able to do the right thing. How do you get these leaders? The current leadership recruitment mechanism cannot give us leaders because the political parties have not prioritized competence. And you can see that in the appointments that comes after elections, whether it is at the state level or at the federal level. People are appointed more because of their loyalty, not because of their competence. And if you don't have the knowledge to run ministries or to run the different departments of government, and you are appointed, that is the beginning of the problem. Because if you don't have the ability to deliver, then what happens is that you just simply destroy that place. And this is what we have been doing. And this is why it is important that we change the leadership development, recruitment mechanism for us to get leaders. Now, I know we are about 30 minutes now, but maybe I can take, since we didn't start quite on time, maybe another 3-4 minutes to give you an idea of what I think we can, because many would want to know, okay, what do we do? What is the solution? Now, one of the solutions, and I'm not saying this is the only one, is to see how we can get a political party that can agree to give or to put a premium for leadership. In other words, a political party, and this is within what the Constitution has allowed the parties to do. A political party can say, for every post that you are going to contest on, in this party, there is a premium. There is a particular criteria. Meaning, let us just give an example. You cannot become a senator in this party until you have a minimum of a university degree. Because in this day and age, in the 21st century, where knowledge is the greatest capital, you can't come into governance without that basic knowledge that even allows you to understand what is happening. And I'm sure you have heard stories of people in the National Assembly that barely understand the language that is being used there. And too often they don't even understand. All they look is what money is there, what can I grab, what can I get? And then they go back and they build mansions, they ride, posh cars, and they do not understand that these are the very things that will destroy our society. They cannot see the damage that they are doing to our own society because they do not have the education, the awareness, the ability to see beyond the 4 years of election. So it's important that we have parties that can put a premium. For every post, you must be able to put a criteria. That will have the effect of putting away a lot of the people who don't have the knowledge and that only, either use money or violence, get that. So that's one. And then the primary elections must also be done, not in the way it is being done now. We have to engineer a new way. Maybe we need to modify an electoral college system so that we get credible people who are knowledgeable, who can now say, no, out of the 10 or so people wanting this post, let's have some criteria. And based on this criteria, this person, and this is what you do in any normal company or any normal government agency. If you are running a radio station or you are running an IT company and you want this company to succeed and you want to recruit an accountant for this company, you don't take your relatives or you don't take people who have been sent you on. No, you are going to advertise that it has to be somebody who has an ACCA, who has got this number of years of experience. And when they come, you are going to examine their papers. You are going to interview those you selected so that you can get the best. This is the way you run modern institutions. Why should you allow the most important institutions of leadership to be run in a way that is different from this one? If you do, why should you be surprised that things are crashing? We are really going down the drain rather than going up, and building our society and addressing the challenges that are facing the society. So I think we need to find a way of getting. Now, you would say that no political party is going to allow us to get this done at the moment. Fair enough. The political parties are looking for people. So if we can, because like I always said, in the real world, you don't get what you desire. You only get what you negotiate for. And the currency for this negotiation is power. The good thing here is that power is not just economic, it can also be demographic. And in a democracy, demographic power, in fact, is more potent. So we can mobilize ourselves, because I can, off the top of my head, say out of the 200 population in Nigeria, 100 million people are not happy with what is happening. And if you can get just 10% or even 5% of those 100 million people that are not happy to sign in, to agree to create a platform or a movement that will now come and negotiate with a political party or even register its own political party, you are there. You have got a party that prioritizes competence, that respects knowledge, and that is ready to change the way things are being done. And invariably, you have a chance to bring in people who are competent to hold these positions. And because they are competent, they are going to get competent people around them, people who know what needs to be done around them. And it will change the whole picture of our politics. So this is the direction I think we should be thinking. And these are just very general and quick ideas, but we have got to, and this is the last point I would want to emphasize, we have got to change the trajectory on which our country is, otherwise we are heading to extinction. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that segment. Umar Kabir, we have a few questions here. So first, I will open the floor up for Ahmed Idris. Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Now, do I answer a question at a time, or would you want me to note 2, 3 questions? Which one?
So the approach we're doing is one question at a time, and each person has about 2 minutes to quick introduction and the question to get to the point.
Fine.
So Ahmed.
Yeah, hello. My name is Ahmed Idris Tambol.
Yes.
I'm from Sokoto, from the name Tambol. So
Yeah,
I'm a student in Bradford here in UK. So I'm referring to some of the examples you provided while giving your presentation about Ghana and Rwanda's economy and how it developed. Most of the people actually refer to especially Rwanda's population compared to Nigerian population. So what do you think about the impact of Nigerian population? I mean, impact of it in economical development.
Okay, let me make 2 points here. Here we are talking of principles, not numbers. If you apply the same principle that Rwanda, that Ghana applied, you get the same results. It's not just these 2 countries. I've taken these 2 countries because they are African countries. They go through a lot of the problems we have gone through. But if you look at South Korea, most of us listening might be using either Samsung, or maybe some of us have Kia or Hyundai vehicles. These are all South Korean companies. Now, if you recall, South Korea went through a civil war with North Korea. That's how they split, in which they lost nearly 2 million people. Now, after the loss of this large number of people, for the first 10 years, South Korea was declared the 2nd poorest country in the world. But because of the leadership they got, within a period of 30, 40 years, South Korea was at the cutting edge of technology. South Korea is about 50 million population, which is quite sizable. So these issues are not population related, they are principles once you apply them. And let me also give you two quick things just to see. Germany and Japan during the Second World War were denied the opportunity to have standing army. And what they did is that they invested all the money which they would have in the army into education. And this is why today Germany has the strongest economy in Europe, and it was the one country that pulled Europe out of recession. You remember the Greece problem. And this is why Japan is still one of the strongest economy in the world. They don't make noise because of their own culture. You don't find a millionaire, in Japan. I mean, you don't talk about millionaires. There are. The head of Mitsubishi, takes his own, children in public bus to school. Meaning, the point is that there are certain principles. Once you apply them, whether it's Germany, or whether it's Japan, whether it's South Korea, whether it's Rwanda, whether it is Ghana or South Africa or any country, once it's a human society, it works. And these are some of the best practices that we should be looking for. We can understudy them. It doesn't mean everything that they do we must do, but we must find out what are the lessons there. We need to customize this to our own specific circumstances. And this, anybody with some education will do. After all, we all study economics in universities, in UK, in America, in other. But we come back home and try to see how we can organize our own economy, because there are certain basic economic principles that apply to all human societies that you need to understand and you need to apply and you need to take into consideration. So population is not an issue here. What is important are the principles.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bugaje. Before we continue with questions and from general audience, I would like to acknowledge some important personalities that are here with us. Each of them has helped to shape the Northern Nigeria as we know it today in their own way. I also hope that they will chime in this conversation because we have a lot we can learn from them. Among those that I can see today is the Galadiman Katsina, Honorable Justice Sadiq Mahuta, Abubakar Sadiq Zubair, who is the current DVC administrator in Ahmadu Bello University, and Malam Murtala Aliyu, the former Minister of Power and current Secretary General of the Ariwa Consultative Forum. So I will start with Galadiman Katsina, if you will please give us a few comments on the particular topic, as we would love to hear from you and learn. Can you unmute him, please? I think he signed in as Galadiman Katsina. Galadima.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Galadima.
Doctor,
Galadima.
we have been battling to get, connection. I say my data has finished, so I have to get another data. But in any case, I joined you virtually midstream.
Okay.
Well, we are giving an example of Korea, Germany, and Japan.
Yeah.
Very interesting scenario. But the problem in Nigeria, the problem we are facing is, if you want to introduce the type of changes you are advocating, which are the only solution, I quite agree with you, they are the only solution. But the issue is you need to have political clout, because political power is assessed in Nigeria through a political party. So I don't know what we are going to do different from what is being done to get a political party which will understand and probably implement some of the proposals we are making. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Galadima. If I may quickly come in, Galadima, I absolutely agree with the difficulties, but I think we will come around them for two reasons. One, I think these political parties rely on the fact that they have people. I mean, the demographics. If they go out for, and because I've run a political party before, in fact, we started from the scratch. If you remember the AC Action Congress, which became later ACN, which went into merger and became APC. So this issue of political party, a political party is only a political party if it has those kind of people. I have reasons to believe that if we are going to present our agenda and present our case, even the youth in Nigeria alone, we can make, because this future is about them. So if we're able to really communicate with them and show them that, look, if this thing works well, it's in your own interest. If it doesn't, you are the ones to suffer. So you have to come and salvage yourselves, literally. We can help you to, with whatever experiences that we have, got, and with the contacts that we have, so that we can create our own party, or we can take any of these small parties, expand them, and if we are able to, and it's doable. We have more than 2 years now. Even within 1 year, you can actually, with communication today, we have got so many other ways of communicating. See what happens within 24 hours, the whole thing has gone around, millions of people. So we can communicate and mobilize and bring them together, and have chapters and cells in different locations and communicate and network. We can organize our own political party with our own priorities, mobilize people. Maybe what you might say, we may not be able to get the president and the governor in one sitting, but if we're able to get 20, 30, 40% of members of the legislature, whether at the state level or at the National Assembly, I can tell you we can bring about changes. I was in the National Assembly. We were not the majority, but we were able to stop the third term of Obasanjo. We were barely about 30%, but because you needed 76%, we denied them that majority to change the constitution. Similarly, we have a forum called Forum for Democracy and Good Governance. We're able to do a lot of things, even though our number was not more than 60. And especially when you have got knowledgeable people, and a lot of these young people we are talking about have gone to school, they have got a lot of ideas, they have a lot of creativity beyond me and you, Galadima. Our age is, we are in our 70s now. Some of these young people are much smarter, right? So the moment you show them the way, they can actually move faster, and we should be able to get that done. My worry is that if we are not able to get this thing done the next few years, we may not have a country again. This is my worry. Because if you look at the real metrics of this country, right now, for example, because of Corona, I don't see how we are going to pay salaries. If we don't pay salaries, how are we? The small economy is all based on salaries of workers. So how does it even work? Right now, all the around Malum Fashik and Dandume, what do you call this place? Sabwa, Paskari. A lot of the rural areas have been pauperized completely. They don't even have the money to live. Now, if these people start coming into the bigger towns, who is going to protect us? So we're going to have a lot of chaos. So we need to know that until we can bring in leadership that has the knowledge, that has the conscience, that has the capacity or commitment or the competence to be able to change the trajectory of this country, we are going to flow with these idiots that will now take this country to a failed state and is going to become a real pandemic, not the one that we are facing now.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. And before we continue with the other elder statement that we have on the platform, I'm going to go and get one question from the general audience. And I'm going to call on Dr. Marzouk Ongogo. You have 2 minutes to ask your question. Please state your name, where you're from, your background, and go straight to the question. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. Thanks so much, moderator, for the opportunity. I was actually trying to type the questions. I'm Marzouk Abubakar Ungogo, a veterinary doctor and academic with Ahmad Bello University, Zaria, and I'm currently pursuing PhD in University of Glasgow, United Kingdom. So my questions are two. One, the cultural and social peculiarities of northern Nigeria. Of course, we are Nigerians, but of course, we are northern Nigerians, and northern Nigerians face peculiar challenges different from mainstream Nigerian problems. And we all know the demographics with problems in Nigeria. We have bad statistics coming from northern Nigeria, and in some cases, the problem stems out of northern Nigeria. And once you average it with the southern statistics, then you end up having the figures we are having right away. So how do we deal with the social and cultural peculiarities of northern Nigeria? One. Number two, the grassroots politics. We all have realized that we have to be actively engaged in politics, but then you have to get in through the grassroots for you to probably represent your people in the National Assembly or the State Assembly. But then there is that obstacle placed to ensure that the educated or the liberal or the enlightened mind get frustrated when they want to get into politics and change things. So how do we deal with these peculiar problems that are likely going to face us even when we want to bring out the desired change we need?
Okay, Marzouk, maybe because I have been in it in the last 20 years, I really don't see it as a problem. I see the major problem of mobilizing ourselves. Once we have the numbers, I assure you we will be able to take over any party we want to take, or we create our own party. And once we create our own party and we're able to communicate to the grassroots and to mobilize them. I have been in campaigns 3 times, if you like, and I know how easy it is actually to convince, even then, before the situation got to this point. I'm still in touch with my own constituency, and it's not just the Katsina State constituency where I come from, but I speak to constituencies having been national secretary of a party. I speak to politicians in a number of other, including the southern states. And I know that people are completely pissed off with all the kind of political parties we have, because all they have seen in the last 20 years is suffering after suffering after suffering. They are prepared for change, but what they lack is that leadership. They don't even have people to trust. By the time we mobilize, the kind of people, and they are there, what they require is a network, something that will make them be part of something big. Once we create this big network and people come in and they join in their numbers, we are going to change the tide. We are going to change the argument. We are going to change the scenario. These people that are finding their way, they are not doing it because really they have any more skills than we have. No, it's just because they have money. But people have seen through that money at the moment. People are realizing the mistakes they make. Even those, what do you call them, delegates that take money and vote the wrong kind of politicians are realizing the danger that they are in now. And so many people are out there basically looking for someone to provide that leadership. The moment we are able to organize ourselves, provide that leadership, and let me tell you, we can engage anybody in this country on any issue, wherever he comes from. So, and I'm not alone. I mean, I'm happy Murtala Aliyu is here. He's part of the ARDP. We have been working together. So we have a lot of people like him and like you, Marzouk. If we're able to come together, we will turn the tides. And this is what we require at the moment. We cannot allow the people who have less education, less commitment to intimidate us. We know how they do this kind of thing. They basically rely on government. People don't trust them, and they have no other skills. In fact, we have more skills than they have. So it's a question of we coming together to organize ourselves, set up a political party, and begin to mobilize the ordinary people at the grassroots level and even at the intellectual level. where we'll come up with better ideas, we'll come up with solutions to the problems. Ask any of the politicians in the National Assembly or a governor or even a minister. Most of them have no idea of even how to solve the problems of this country. If they ever did, why didn't they do so? Why is it that we are running into one problem after the other, one problem after the other? I cannot remember in the last 20 years anything that we've been able to solve. We've not been able to solve the problem of poverty. We've not been able to solve the problem of security. We've not been able to solve the problem of corruption within the police. We've not been able to solve any other problem. That is enough reason for us to get rid of this particular way and start something completely new. And we have the capacity to do so. We have the commitment to do so. We have people out there. But what people out there are looking for is that leadership. We have to come forward and say, this is where we are going. This is what we want to do. And we will get people coming along with us with the commitment. We have to change the culture itself. The political culture has to change.
Thank you very much, Doctor. At this point, let me call the Secretary General of Arewa Consultative Forum, Malam Murtala Aliyu, to chime in for a minute or two. Fatima, can you unmute him?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm glad that we've been able to get Mala Usman to talk to us, on this subject. We have been on it for a long time. I remember around 2001, 2002, Mala Usman, Man Nasir Erufai and myself were discussing the same thing. And we said the best way to be effective is to go and contest for election. Now, the two of us went for election, Mala Usman and I. He got his onto the National Assembly. I failed to become the governor of the state. Nasru eventually became a minister. But I think one of the general issues here is that we will continue to discuss these issues for as long as we don't get a coordinated approach, like Mala Usman said. I'm glad we're talking to young people who are all capable in their own fields and so on. And that if 20 years ago we were discussing this with Mala Usman and co, and if 20 years ago I was privileged to be a minister in this country, if 20 years ago I was the national auditor of the ACA when it was at its formative years, if 20 years ago I'd already finished coordinating a national program like the PTF, I think that this forum should be allowed to include younger people like you. We should identify as many as possible. And then we will now have to go and be pushing this message that leadership is not about benefits, it's about sacrifice. Now, when we do that, and look, we don't even have an option, because after this pandemic, we all realize that even being in governance is going to be a big challenge. All the people you see now are going to be in trouble because we can't pay our salaries, we can't run anything, we can't go and run the luxuries we used to enjoy, riding big cars and so on. All those can't happen anymore because there will be no money to do that. So I think that if we start now and we start talking to each other, we start expanding, we should be able to mobilize enough force. Mala Usman has an experience in party formation, and like he said, 2 years is not too short, and it's not too long either. So if we start today and we start talking to each other, you'll be surprised what you can achieve in 2 years. If you know how the AC transformed into ACN, it was a big drama within a few months. And if you know also how all the parties aggregated to become APC, it was also within a short period. So I want to believe that I think this is the right forum. We should. I want to thank you all for this kind of inciting discussions, and I hope we will discuss more and more on these issues, talk to each other, and just go beyond talking, but establish some network that will be eventually. Before I just drop Dr. Marzouk was talking about our peculiarity. Our peculiarity actually should be a strength. It's not too long ago that the North was actually in good shape, both emotionally stable and intellectually sound. It doesn't have to be Western education type, but intellectually we are a stable part of the country. We can recover that, and I think that when people like you and us, we're sharing our experiences, we're sharing our knowledge and strength and locations, we should be able to come up with something sensible. So I thank you for getting Mal Osman to come to talk to us on this, and I hope we will benefit eventually after all the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We are approaching the end of this meeting, and we have so many questions that we have not even considered. So I would like to appeal to the participants to give us extra 10 minutes, please, so that we can get to some of the questions. And we still have Malam Abakar Sadiq Zubair, the DVC Administration of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, that we want him to chime into and say a thing or two. But before we go to him, I'm going to call on B. Aka. That's how the name appears here. He has a question/comment. B. Aka.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, your background, and you have 2 minutes?
Okay, I'm Akabe Joseph, a Chief Research Fellow with the National Judicial Institute. Have a first degree in political science, have an MBA from Western Michigan University. I have just a few observations. I believe when they talk about the last 20 years, I believe the poverty has increased due to the destruction of the local government as a third tier of government. They are closer to the people. They take development to the people. But once they destroy the local government structure, that is when poverty has increased in Nigeria. And I believe floating a political party involves lots of money. And those who have no vision for Nigeria have found themselves in leadership positions. And over time, they've also made lots of money. So fighting people with money, the only thing you can use in beating them is spreading a sound political ideology. This involves giving lots of public lectures, lots of write-ups, and lots of TV interviews, because over the last 20 years, we've practiced the politics of money. That is what most Nigerian citizens want, and that is the only way some of them know. So selling this ideology involves lots of work, and I hope we'll be prepared for this and bring in like minds that might also push this ideology forward. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't know whether our facilitator has something to add to that, or I can go to the next question.
Maybe a quick. I thank Aka for bringing this point, but I just want to assure him that he should not be intimidated by people with money. We have dealt with them at that level, and it's something that we can actually do. And when you build a political party, you need a lot of money because of the way we make, we create our political parties where one big money bag will sponsor everybody. By the time you break it down, you make it some kind of crowdfunding. If you have 5 million people and it's possible to raise 5 million people, and each gives you just 100 naira, that's already 500 million naira. So what I mean is that through crowdfunding, and there are so many other ways, you can actually raise the money you require to, but more importantly, you do it in such a way that you create ownership of the political party. At the moment, the political parties are owned by the money bags. And this is why they're able to dissolve the executive, they're able to remove the people they want to remove, and they're able to do a lot of the havoc that they do. So it's part of what we want to do new or differently, that political parties will be built by the people themselves. So that when people come to political party meetings as members, nobody gives them any money. If you are the type who has to be given money, then we can say go to APC or PDP or PRP or any other party. Simple. Yes. But I can assure you there are people who would be prepared to do that little, sacrifice, and that will change the whole political culture. And because it's going to be owned by people, you can't walk in with your big car, with your money bag, and say that you want this particular person to win election or primary election or put some people. Right now, every political party that you see, including APC and PDP, all the people that are holding posts in those parties are people who have been brought in by the influential people in the party. They are there to protect their interests. They are not there out of competence. And this is one of the major mistakes I try to make sure we don't make when we are forming the APC. I did everything to say that people should come on the basis of merit, and they refuse. And this is see the APC today. What's the difference between APC and PDP? And look at the crisis within the party. It's a crisis within the interest at the top, among the top players. And this is what we want to avoid. But I want to assure you that money is not going to be a problem. It all depends on what party. If you want to repeat what this rubbish that we have had, then definitely you need a lot of money. But if you want to do something differently, it can come without the kind of astronomical costs that we associate with the current political parties. And thank you for that comment.
Thank you very much. Before we go to Malam Abakar Sadiq Zubair, I would like to read this question that was typed in because the guy asking the question has issues with his mic, and his question is basically about tackling the illiteracy and reorienting those attitudes that we deem counterproductive in northern Nigeria. He believes that we have been approaching this problem in using old techniques that have not been quite successful. And his question is, I think, or comment rather, about using psychology to address these issues, because you can do your jingles all you want, you can tell people to take their kids to school, but you have to find a behavioral change method that is well suited for our community and use that. Let me at this moment call on, if he's still with us, Abakar Sadiq Zubair, the DVC administration in Ahmadu Bello University, and together with Dr. Usman Bugaje, we hope that they can answer this.
Hello?
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
Very well.
Nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. I join others to congratulate the forum in getting our convener, Mal Usman, to have this discussion of tonight. Among the issues I had, I think Alhaji Mushala Aliyu has mentioned them. I just want to reiterate them. But I think Dr. Usman has given loaded messages, which I think we need to carefully analyze. But I think key points which have been repeated by most of the people that made submission are: we need a change in approach in our politics completely, and definitely the criteria mentioned by most of the participants here, I think, are apt and I think are very germane. One, the ideology has to change, and Dr. Usman has mentioned it. We don't have any distinction among the parties that we know in ideological preference. We don't have it. And then ownership, like he said, the youth need to come. I think he has eloquently mentioned it. This is the future. I'm in the bracket of Mal Usman at 60, so we need to see the young ones that take over this trajectory, that we must have a change in our country, in governance, and in the way we do things. And it is the responsibility and the future of the youth to come and join hands with the progressive and change these paradigms. I believe we can do it in the very best manner, by looking at the rubrics of how to do things right. They have been said, and I think we need to analyze them. Maybe we need to serialize a lot of what Dr. Usman said. I believe. I have listened to it carefully, and I believe the forum will do very well if we take a lot of what he said. We have 2 years. We can sit down and strategize and see how we can really, bring another competitive platform that can compete favorably. And I think we have a lot of justification to do that. Let's hope and see the end of this pandemic. And like a lot of the people mentioned, we are going to see a lot of changes in our life. And I believe we can use this as opportunities. Definitely many things will change. We hope, we'll survive this. We will land, safely, after all this COVID-19. And the opportunities will present themselves. And I believe we need to quickly initiate activities, towards 2023 leadership change. We really need to do something. And like a lot of you have said, looking at, the bottom, the Northerners are at the bottom of everything that we want to analyze and want to discuss. So I believe it's a very well discussion, and I am completely in support of what we are going to do, and we are going to listen. We are going to follow up on these forum activities. I was informed just about an hour ago by one of the youth here, and I said I will join and I will listen to the conversation that is going to take place on this particular issue of leadership in our country. I thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Ezed. You want me to say a few words on the point on reorientation?
Yes, we would appreciate that before we move to the last two questions, and we'll call it a day.
This particular point he has raised is the point I have been trying to bring in knowledge to drive the changes. So is the kind of role I expect young people will play. A lot of the time, first let me say we need reorientation. And what actually that reorientation is going to do, we need to revive our value system. Because we have a value system embedded in our society that has become overcome or undermined by the new rogue values that have come. The fact that it is part of our religion, part of our culture, makes it easier for us to revive them and to bring them back. And that will be part of the new, if you like, the ideological content we are going to build for the new political platform. But what he specifically suggested is a very good one. When we come to doing it, we are going to leverage the knowledge that is available. In this case, the knowledge of psychology. And we may even use a number of other knowledge that is available that will fast track the delivery of the kind of reorientation we require. So absolutely, yes, we need that. And we need to first construct the platform and get this thing. And like Professor Ezed has said, we try to summarize a lot because of the constraints of time. But when we have the opportunity, these things are things that can be put in form of concept of not more than maybe 2,000 to 3,000 words that can be shared widely so that people can now be able to make their own inputs, and then we can. But we have, perhaps by way of update, we have got about 100 people that we have contacted. Some of them are Christian clergy, some of them are Muslim ulama, some of them are even active politicians, but they are completely committed to something new. Some of them are youth groups, students group. So all these women group, we are gradually trying to create a kind of nucleus for these ideas. And we will circulate some of these concepts so that people can make inputs, and then we'll generate a list of people who will sign in. And these are people who will now take it to the different states, the different local government, the different wards, so that we can generate the kind of momentum that is necessary. Once that is generated, and we'll use all the communication skills at our disposal, I think we'll begin to construct a new political future for this country.
Thank you very much. Before we leave, I would like to recognize Dr. Mairo Mandara, who is the former country representative of in Nigeria of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She has a comment. And if I may ask one more time for additional 5 minutes, because we have just 2 more questions to go through before we conclude. Can you unmute Dr. Mairo?
I can't find her in the chat group. Perhaps she's under a different name.
Bilal, I think she's under the name Bilal.
Okay. You have the floor, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was joining Bilal's screen. I just wanted to comment on the issue of value and social reorientation that was raised earlier. And I think the little thing I want to add is that this issue of social reorientation and values need to be brought home to our individual lives. It's not something that we should talk about, just talk about and try to change others. It's something that we, particularly in this generation, need to look at. It's what we wear, it's how much we spend on clothing, it's how much we use our resources. What percentage of our resources do we invest rather than buy clothes? What kind of cream do we use? So those kinds of things translate later into our lives. It also translates into the level of contentment we have. It determines whether or not we steal when we have opportunities and whether or not we live within our means. So it's not such a big thing. It's something that is everyday life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We have Dr. Nazif. If Dr. Nazif is still with us. Dr. Nazifi. Dr. Nazifi, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, your background, and where you're coming from, then ask your question or make a comment.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Nazifi Aliyu, and I am an economist. I work with the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation. I am a passionate person when it comes to issues of leadership. When I saw the topic, I thought it's a topic that I cannot miss by all means, because it's what we've been vying for a very long time. I was actually hoping that we come together and discuss issues that have to do with alternative leadership solutions, owing to the fact that we have been in this party system or military rule for a very long time, and up to now we haven't had the desired result. Whenever you have people in leadership or people that have been in leadership and they want to get your sympathy, the first thing they start telling you is the problems of Nigeria. Yes, we all acknowledge that we have these problems and very little is being done as to ways to bring solutions to these problems. I would like to cite an example of such alternative leadership that we've seen in Italy. We all see what happened with the 5-star movement. They came in as a group of young people that are tired of the classical political system that was going on, and they made a lot of impact to the extent that they won some seats and they refused to have any alliance with any of the majority government to form government, and that to a very large extent retain their credibility. So what I am saying now is a lot of people have good intentions to join parties or to form parties, but we have all seen it that before they reach somewhere, this politics of godfatherism, this politics of money will consume them one way or the other. They end up in a merger or in an acquisition or whatever term or terminology we give it. And at the end of the day, it's the same old people, the same clueless people that we don't want to see in government that are steering our affairs. Now, the doctor has said a lot. The biggest threat to political leaders of Nigeria is the educated. because they believe that they are insecure when they have them around them. So how do we now, as young, passionate, educated youths that have development in our heart, that want to change the destiny of our nation, can't we form an alternative route to this leadership? And if we must
Thank you,
follow
Nazifi.
this,
I think your time is almost up, so can you please wrap it up so that we can take the last question?
okay. I wanted to ask Doctor, in this alternative means, can't we look at community leadership, that we set some benchmarks, or we form some pressure groups, or we set some standards, we start from there, or do we really have to jump and start a political party that we might end up being consumed by the larger ones and all this?
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nazifi. Before I let Doctor answer that, let me take one more question from Rabiu Abdusalam. Rabiu Abdusalam.
Sorry, maybe he's under a different name today.
All right. All right. I'll let Doctor answer that, and we will wrap up and let everyone get back to business.
Okay. I think Nazifi is basically trying to caution us. These are issues of methods. How best can we succeed so that we don't become consumed by some of the what do you call it? I mean, some bigger parties that might come. I think it's possible to navigate the terrain to avoid the big parties. You did say something that the political culture is anti-intellectual because of the kind of people who take the leadership of the political parties. You find them almost scoffing at intellectuals, people with knowledge. In fact, some of them bluntly told that this is not your kind of place. You should wait until we form government if we want to bring you in. So this is noted, well noted, but it's a problem that we can easily circumvent. I can see, just like he gave example of 5-star in Italy, and there are quite a number of other examples around the world. Once you are able to have a very clear ideological content, and you are able to mobilize, and given the circumstances and the way I read them, the people are sick and tired of this politics that has not been able to deliver any good in this country in the last 20 years. We are likely to have a surge of people who are prepared to start something new. We just have to be ready to do it gradually if necessary, meaning we don't expect to have a president in the next, it can come, but let's not push for that. Let's push for making sure that our structures, our culture, our reorientation, our values are embedded in what political culture we are going to build, because that is going to be the strength, and that is what's going to allow it not to be hijacked by any other person who does not belong to that particular mental state or that particular mindset. So I just want to assure him it's a good question, but I think it's doable. And altogether, I think it is important we realize that nobody is going to do this for us. It is we who are committed, who are convinced and committed, are the ones who are going to sit down and pull our socks, and pull our sleeves and sit down and get that done. But I want to assure you, for what I know in politics in the last 20 years, what we are going to, our capacity to bring in a lot of the things that is beyond the capacity of the current political parties. They rely on thugs, they rely on money, they rely on, and they do not have the ideas. So I don't see a very big challenge beyond the fact that we who are committed must be prepared to come down and to link up with the grassroots. And this is doable, and there are so many other things we can do. Because if you remember in Algeria, what brought changes, the new parties actually went to the grassroots with services. They offered them services that government was not giving them. And we can do this. We can organize young people to give, free medical services. We can organize young people to give free entrepreneurship advices. We can do so many other things. Already, in a way, small groups are doing that. We only need to connect it. So we have a lot more to offer to the grassroots, to other people. And the fact that people, even those that want to retain power, have no idea of what to do with it, we should engage them. We should be able to come to a television debate, a radio debate, ask a minister to come, ask a political party chairman to come. What do you want to do? Tell us what plans you have for this country. How are you going to solve the problem of the economy after COVID? What ideas do you have? If you don't have ideas, please keep quiet and get out of the way. These are the kind of things we can do. We have a lot more to really engage them, intimidate them, if you like, so that I see that it's all about our willingness to bring about the change, but we have a lot in our advantage.
All right. Please join me in thanking Dr. Usman Bugaje for that wonderful lecture. I'm quite sure that it has been very informative to us, and it will continue to stimulate a healthy intellectual conversation among the attendants. Once again, I would like to apologize for taking a little bit longer time that was allotted for us. We will ensure that we budget more time for conversations like this and questions in our next lecture. Before we go, we would like to open the floor for networking for those that want to stay. People will come in and introduce themselves, and if you want to chime in, whatever you want to chime in. Also, we want to inform you guys that we have a subscription list. Nasser is going to post the link to that. If you want to attend our future sessions, please drop your email address or phone number, and we would forward you invitations. Dr. Usman Bugaje, thank you very much for being with us here today. We really appreciate it.
It's my great pleasure.
Thank you. Fatima, I think we can open the floor now, right?
Yes, we can.
For introduction, yeah.
For introduction. So I don't know how best to do this, because if we open everyone's mic, the static will drown everything out. So
okay, I think whoever wants to get introduced, say yes or raise your hand, and then we'll go based on first come, first serve.
Okay, so I've lowered all hands now from the questions, and if you want to take the floor for introductions, etc., just put your hands up.
Maximum 30 seconds.
Okay.
Please. We have about 7 people that are still left.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll start from top to first come, first serve. So I'm Mustafa Kaira.
Kiari.
Mustafa Kiari Manga.
Yes, my name is Mustafa Kiari Manga from Borno State. I'm a PhD candidate at Newcastle University, United Kingdom. So I don't know whether you guys are hearing me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I think I'm so much really impressed and happy with the discussion we had. So I will call on the organizers of this session to please organize the next one so that we can have enough time to ask questions and have a very good deliberation. Thank you very much.
That is noted. Thank you very much.
So next is Mustafa. Oh, sorry, is Hamza Falalu.
All right. I think we can move to the next one, right?
All right. So next is Adamu Ali Gombe.
Hello.
Hello.
Adamu Ali Gombe. I'm a research fellow with Robert Gordon University. I'm interested most of the time in computer vision and deep learning. I'm joining in from Aberdeen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Hamza Falala, I'm going to give you the floor again.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Alaikum can hear you.
Okay, mashallah. My name is Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim Hamza, and from the Department of Pure and Industrial Chemistry. I obtained my PhD 2019 from University Technology Petronas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next is Muhammad Ibrahim.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim Abubakar. I'm a physician. I live under.
He did not just meet him. I text him there.
All right.
So we'll move on to the next person while he gets back on. The next person is Abu Bakr. I can't see the last name. Abu Bakr Haruna.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Abu Bakr Haruna Garba. I'm from Gombe State. I'm a planning officer at the Ministry of Economic Planning, Gombe State. After Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, and what I would like to say is actually I came late for the discussion, but I believe the moderator could share a link to a WeTransfer that we could get to see and engage with the discussion even though it's finished. And then we hope there will be another lecture very soon. Thank you.
All right. We surely have a line of speakers that are going to be facilitating future meetings, and we hope to have this at least once a week. We still have Dr. Mairo Mandara, and we would like to use this avenue to appeal to her if she can take one of the sessions. I don't know if she's still around. Well, we'll contact her personally, but we wanted to use this medium to ask her. We can go on with the introductions.
Perfect. Thank you. So next is the person with the Huawei Y9 Prime phone.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me. My name.
We can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Nura Aliyu Kabuga. A lecturer in the Department of Economics, Bayer University, Kano, and currently in University of Leeds, United Kingdom, undergoing my PhD. And I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to participate in the next sessions. And I'm actually interested in politics, although I have been into politics during my days undergraduate, and actually, I'm happy to see some of my undergraduate friends like Dr. Nazifi. We were in the same class during our undergraduate, and I have seen some of my friends from Bradford, from other places. So hopefully, I will also get enlisted into your next participants. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next.
Malik Kabir.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. I hope you can see me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Malik Kabir Mustafa. I'm from Katsina. I attended ABU Zaria Electrical Engineering, MSc Engineering Management, and I'm very much interested in politics also. And I hope to engage in this kind of sessions. And I'm also interested in applying sciences in dealing with problems, especially Nigerian problems. And I think that's it. So I will look forward to engaging in more of this meetups. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move next to Abakar Halidu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I'm from Nasarawa State. I'm currently undergoing my PhD at Newcastle University, United Kingdom. I used to be a comrade in the university there in ATB Bauchi, and I wish to be part of this and contribute my own quota. Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right, thank you very much. We have three more. We have next is going to be Nasir Ingawa.
Yeah.
Nasir Ingawa.
Can you hear? Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Wa alaikum salam. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Nasir Ingawa. I'm from Katsina State. I am an independent governance and public policy consultant. I would like to congratulate the organizers. I think it's very laudable. I think it's about time youth begin to think about what it is they need to do to take charge of their their future. I don't know if I can throw in one or two things. I had wanted to speak earlier while Dr. Bugaje was still around. I think there are one or two low-hanging fruits young people need to consider. Yes, I agree with Dr. Bugaje, Murtala Aliu, and all the rest. Political power or political platforms are an avenue to which you can hold government accountable, to which you can bring about development, and so on and so forth. But there are also other things you can do. These election cycles, they only come around once in 4 years. So you cannot sit and wait for 4 years to keep testing your hypothesis on whether your strategy to gaining power is working or not. And some of those low-hanging fruits I'm trying to talk about, which I wish I could have talked about while Dr. Usman Bugaje was here, is, for instance, issue of mentorship. I think a lot of the youth right now are looking for umbrellas to which they could be guided and, taught all these different skills of leadership, because leadership honestly there are also other things like how youth can get together.
Hello?
Yes.
Dr. Masur, we will circle back to you. It seems like you, sorry, Dr. Nasir Ingawa, it looks like you have a very important point to make. We'll circle back to you.
Sure.
Let's finish this introduction. Please stay online and we'll circle back to you.
Thank you.
Mansur's iPhone.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening all. My name is Mansour. I'm actually from Gombe State. I'm a research candidate here with Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen. And I'm actually a lecturer as well in Kaduna Polytechnic. That's all about me. But I have just a little suggestion regarding the way we run this kind of thing. I think we need to have like a sort of database. We need to have like a website where people like minds can be like coming on board, registering, things like that. We can know how popular these kind of ideas are. I think that would go a long way in bringing more people around. And then we can have like a platform where we can know whether when we have events and things like that. I think that will kind of help, I think.
Thank you very much, Mansour. That's a very good suggestion, and we would take that into account. We are currently creating a website to keep all our videos and our announcement, and we'll surely include your suggestions there. Thank you very much. Going on to Yakubu S. Wudil.
Okay, finally I am in. Thank you, the moderator. My name is Yakubu Sani Wudil, and I'm a PhD candidate here at the King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals in Saudi Arabia. My research interest is renewable energy in physics department. I am passionate about seeing things done right. And I don't know, the moderator, if you can access the contact of Dr. Bugaje for us, for those of us that share same concern with him and interest, we can share our thoughts maybe even afterwards, after this session. Thank you very much.
Inshallah.
With his permission, we would inshallah take his contact and put it in the website we created.
Okay, thank you.
Shehu Yahya.
Okay, good evening all. My name is Shehu Usman Bugaje. I'm a biotechnologist and a medical equipment consultant. I'm from Katsina. Mine, well, hello first, and then mine is kind of a suggestion that I believe it would be good if we maybe open up a communication channel specifically for what has been discussed here, so as to keep up the momentum, because I'm sure someone somewhere said that the best time to act is now. So while we are still charged up, I think it would be a good idea to open a communication line before this forum closes today, so we can keep on discussing the ideas and maybe start thinking about ways to move forward. Thank you.
I hope it's not going to be a WhatsApp group, because I can be an administrator. All right. Dr. Mukhtar Habib.
Oh,
Thank you, Shehu.
thank you very much. Good evening, all. Thank you very much for this great innovation. I think it's highly commendable and welcome. My name is Dr. Mukhtar Habib. I am a chemical engineer. I obtained my master's PhD from Wuhan, China, and currently a senior lecturer in Kaduna Polytechnic. So I am actually part of the ARDP, so I am aware of what has been going on. Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. And lastly, we have Fauzia Yakasai.
Hi. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
My name is Fauzia Adria Kasai, and I'm a PhD candidate in Auburn University, USA. It's nice hearing from all of you. I really enjoyed it. So I'm presenting women in politics. I hope we are going to have more of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's nice to have you. I think at this time we can circle back to Mansour, right?
Yeah, we'll try to get
Any
him.
point. Right.
Mansour, the floor is yours.
I've spoken already.
Oh, you are done? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the contribution.
Thank you.
We'll move on to, we have Muhammad Ibrahim that still has his hands raised.
Muhammad, the floor is yours.
Hello. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm sorry. Actually, the first time I forgot to unmute myself. My name is Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim Abubakar. I'm a physician, and I live in Medina, Saudi Arabia. I did my master's in University of Liverpool, and I'm a PhD candidate right now. And my focus is healthcare management. I'm actually passionate and excited about the situation in Africa, especially Arewa especially, and in Nigeria. So actually, when I joined this meeting, I was really happy about the discussions, and I hope we will continue to have this. I believe we have to do a lot of work. We have heard a lot of things in the past from politicians, and these politicians sometimes we have seen a lot. For example, when President Buhari came, we saw a lot of optimism in him, and we believed in him. And somehow, some way, some people out there are, very definitely prevent things from going on, which I believe we have to consider if we are going to make the kind of suggestions that Dr. Usman Bugaje has said, in fact, my opinion is maybe if we can focus our strength on Ariwa to bring development in Ariwa, help and give our youth the support that they need. And then with time, then we can grow out of the situation we are in. But this is just what I'm gonna say right now. I hope I will be considered next time for when you are going to have a meeting.
We'll
I will be happy
definitely
to
do that. Thank you very much. We
Thank
still
you.
have Muhammad Ibrahim. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yusuf M. Tukur.
Hello.
Hey. Yeah,
Can
we
you?
can hear you. Yeah, we
All
can.
right. Well, finally, I'm here. My name is Yusuf Muhammad Tukur Illo. I'm a lecturer with Usman Bugaje University, Sokoto, and currently pursuing my PhD at the University of Bradford in the UK, and with focus on Internet of Things and cybersecurity. So, I mean, I had wanted to have chance to say something while Dr. Bugaje was there, but I think what I see is the need to have a social and cultural reorientation and try to instill discipline in the way we behave and conduct ourselves in the society. And of course, if we have any such target that we want to achieve, we must definitely plan to have a sustainable source of income, number one, because we know what politics involves. So it's more than just the numbers and etc. There is need for those logistics, and then of course we need to have the most important tool or weapon, so to say, which is the media. We have to have deliberate plans and aggressively pursued to be able to sell ourselves not only within the northern Nigeria, but to tell our own stories as far as the Nigerian entity is concerned, because definitely many negative things are going on about Aria as an entity. So we need to be able to have the tools to tell our own stories. And with those tools, we have the largest number of people who listen to the media, especially the radio and the TV. And even at that, we need to have our own electronic news channel instead of which will replace the print media, of course. Now, the only thing I can think of we have that comes regularly is Jafar's Daily Nigerian, and that's it. We have a lot of fine writers that can just be writing articles and columns. Once we come together under an umbrella with a common goal, which is the progress of Ario as an entity, we can take this kind of meeting to be a sort of a prelude to an actualization of a big dream that we have. So we'll be happy to keep in touch with Dr. Bugaje. Let this serve as an informal inaugural meeting. We can liaise with the ACF, of course, the likes of Dr. Bugaje are around. And there are lots of guys with very brilliant ideas that we can actually, put together and then streamline everything. And before you know it, we hit the ground running. And I will strongly discourage the issue of just going, for the national position. No, what I think we need to focus on is the grassroots. Let us be able to send a message, a signal. Let us dominate, the politics of Ariwa. Whatever has to do with Ariwa, let us be reckoned with as a force that once we are around, then any other political party should just forget about Ariwa. So much so that we become a force to reckon with, because nobody can ever become the president of Nigeria without the votes of the Northerners. So we can start
Thank
first
you
as a
very much,
regional party.
Yusuf.
Okay,
We'll circle back to you because we still have 3 more people. Thank you very much. Your contribution has been well noted, and we'll circle back to you to finish your point. Going to Sarah to Mama Shinkaf. Sorry, Sarah to Mama Shafi'i.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Sarah, too.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
So what's wrong? I don't know what's wrong.
All right. I think we can move to the next person, Umar Abdullahi Umar. And sorry, before we go on to Umar Abdullah Umar, I can see that we still have Dr. Usman Bugaje, even though we know the lecture is over. There are a lot of people that wished he had their questions and gave them a comment. So, sir, if you are still willing to say a thing or two, we know. You can omit him. He's still on the platform. There are a lot of people that wished you were here while they were asking their questions. So I think one of the questions was was it on alternative leadership or?
Perhaps the Nate found him.
Say that again.
He's back on. Yeah, I can see him. Sorry.
Okay. What I wanted to say is that I'm not quite sure if I should make any comments. I'm just enjoying the comments. Yeah, I'm just enjoying listening, through. Since I can see that we have an opportunity to take these discussions further. And like I informed one or two people who called me separately after the event, that I'm putting these ideas in the form of a concept, maybe about 3, 4, 5 pages that we can circulate and get, inputs. And our target is actually after Ramadan, that's in time after June, to really start, getting this movement to take off. So we have done quite a lot of consultation. We are still doing so. So I'm glad there are many people who would want to join. So the ideas I discuss, I intend to reduce them to writing, so that we can, circulate them and have an idea what it is, and have some inputs from you, because it's about young people, really. It's about the future of the country. So for now, I wouldn't want to make any more fresh comments. I would rather just listen through as people introduce themselves.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bugaji. We respect and appreciate that. We'll go on to
What? Hello? My name is Umar Abdullahi Umar from Kano State. I'm a principal politician because I've been involved in politics right from the grassroots, right from 1999 politics and what have you. So I have this crazy idea. If you permit me 1 minute, this crazy idea is this major problem that we are having in our grassroots politics is the too much attractiveness to National Assembly. You see, these positions of National Assembly is always a problem because people will be aspiring to go there to make money. Therefore, they will go and do whatever it takes so that they will get that position. So I have this idea, how can we make the National Assembly less attractive? This is one. Secondly, all of us here that are quite interested in politics and what have you, we must remember you have to go back to the grassroots. You have to go back to your ward. You have to go back to your local government and try to see how you are going to interact with people, how you are going to learn the art of politicking inside your ward and unit. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We have Abubakar Halidu. I think he was somewhere up there before he slided all the way Down. Abakar Halidu.
Yeah, can I contribute? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, once again, Abubakar Halidu. I'm actually from Nasarawa State, but here in Newcastle University, researching on renewable energy with Newcastle University. All said and done, I think our able doctor, Usman Bugaje, he has elucidated very well. But I have a contrast opinion, which I beg to contribute, that waiting for more than 4 years, that our target is not 2023. I think we may be sliding to the dungeon, to the dustbin of politics. Because with this pandemic, I can now see how empty our current leaders are. With this pandemic, I am able to see through the prism that the current crop of leaders we have are absolutely a mess. They have just personal ways of immersing the wealth of the common man. If I may come this way, the doctor, yes, we need to go back to the grassroots, which we are going to do. And I believe in your tenacity. I believe in your principles because I've known you for more than 10 years now. But you may have forgotten, I used to come to your house together with Anwar Sani Awal, who is currently with Professor Idris Bugaji. And I have shared your principle and have loved the way you have tried to mentor the youths, because he is one of those people that you have mentored and you are still mentoring. So I will beg that this forum focus on the next election. Let's see what we can offer. Let us work tirelessly, because if we leave it again to the next 4 years, which will be 2027 or thereabout, I think Nigeria will be no more. Maybe, I don't know. Thank you so very much. Hello?
Who's struggling now?
Did you hear me? Fatima?
Salaam alaikum, yes?
Did you hear me? Did you hear what
Yes,
my contribution
we
is?
heard your contribution. Thank you very much for that. That was very insightful. And absolutely, we do need to focus on the next election. So I suppose Yahya Serki is also on the line. So I've unmuted you now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Fatima. And good evening, everyone. I'm Yahya Ibrahim Serki. I did my undergraduate at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and I did my PhD at University of Bristol, the UK, completed in 2017. Lecturing now at Umar Musa Yar'Adua University, Katsina. And and then a postdoctoral research assistant at the University of Montpellier, France, currently ongoing research. I'm also interested in mathematical models and machine learning. Malan Adamu, Ali Gombe, where I share some of your passion as well. So, and as well as politics. In addition, just for a minute, I just a question that I didn't have time to ask for Dr. Bugaje, maybe for the next session, but I just want to make a comment about it. I think the current structure of governance in Nigeria is actually contributing to a lot of the problems we are trying to solve in the leadership recruitment itself. Like many of these contributors have noted, you can see that devolution of power is actually something we need, because the federal government, we have, amassed so much power that devolved back to states and local governments. A lot can be achieved because National Assembly, the National Executive Council, and the states, actually, they are the main centers where the mismanagement of the resources of the country and this problem with the policies actually happens. And I think if we work towards a little bit about going towards back to the model of the First Republic, not necessarily exactly, but something, taking the goods out of it and then merging it with some new ideas, I think something good might come out of it. So thank you. I think that's my contribution. I look forward to be participating in the next meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was very insightful. Next, we have Yahya Sariki.
That's me, I think, twice.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yaqub S.
Yeah, thank you.
Yaqub S. Woodle is raised his hand again.
Thank you very much, the moderator, for giving me the opportunity once more. I just have a contribution which I wanted to raise before, but because of the issues. So thank you. Actually, is with regards to like our own issue as a North. I think we need to like have developmental rolling plans, kind of infrastructural developmental plans compared to our counterparts in the Southwest. Just, I will give you an example. I'm sure you will believe me. Whenever like a president will go to the Southwest, be it Bola Tinubu colloquium or any other thing, he will not come back without signing some memorandum of MOUs and other things. They will not allow him to come. They will make sure that he sign 1 or 2 documents for their own infrastructure and these things. So they get 2 things. While he attends the function, at the same time, they get 1 or 2 projects. That's it. But in the North, usually, when a president comes to Kano, Kaduna, or any other place, you will observe that what we are good at is to call ra and ko to dance, and that's all. So I think we need to kind of, mean business. We should mean business, actually. We should also, okay, Mr. President, be it from the South or from the North, we don't care who is the president. Mr. President, this is what we need as a North, with a single voice. And if you really want us to be with you in the next term or whatever it is, you should have this for us, and we should see it in the next 1, 2, 3 years. If we can continue, to engage our leaders in this type of, way, I think this is the only way we will be able to capture so many things to the North. This is just a side comment. And I hope Dr. Bugaje also is there. I know though he will not comment, but at least he will share with us these things. Thank you very much. Are you with me? Hello?
Hello, sorry, you're still with us. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much for that contribution.
Thank you.
It seems like we have an interesting conversation going on, that we have more and more people.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's getting late for some people because of their time zone, and other people need to go and do other businesses. But I think what we'll do is we'll leave the floor open, and keep on taking questions. If you want to leave, we understand. And if you have questions, you can go ahead until we run out of questions. We take turns between me and Fatima moderating. Fatima, can you take over for the next 10 minutes?
Absolutely. Yep. Admin. Okay. So thank you for that. We have Yusuf M. Tukars.
Yeah. All right, I'm back. Thank you very much for bringing me back. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we're able to hear you.
Can you hear me, please? Okay.
Yes, we're able to hear you.
All right. Yeah. So still on the issue of leadership that I'm saying, there are things that I think shouldn't be. Championed by a political party, but rather this is where the function of the ACF also comes in as a pressure group. So the roles are self-interwoven. Yeah, we are citizens of Arewa, and then we have the Arewa Consultative Forum. So in my opinion, although we've lost the secretary of the ACF, in my own opinion, is that the ACF should sort of lead the drive in actualizing this big dream that we have. Yeah, we can, just try to get our people enlightened. Power rests with the people and let them realize their powers, especially political power. So as Yakubu Sani has contributed recently, the Southwest did that, but fortunately for them, it is their political leaders that have that kind of orientation, that have that kind of initiative. But what happens to us in the case of in the case where our own are more or less the opposite of the Southwest? We don't have to sort of push something and ask them to do it, as we generally believe that they are counterproductive. So why do we have to go through them, for example? And the votes are with us. If we enlighten our people, the village people, we make them realize their own powers. As Dr. Bugaje has said, we shouldn't be intimidated by people with money. Even if it's money, they go and shower, make money rains, naira, dollar rains. People can still get the money and, take charge of their decisions. That's what I think we should try to focus on. Get our people enlightened, let them realize their powers, and let them be able to exercise such powers and decide on the people they want to govern them. Once we have that structure with meticulously, planned sort of course of action, then that's fine. That's where I disagree with the other contributor that said we should try the 2023 elections. I think we shouldn't rush this thing because we have a plan and it's a long-term plan. If anything, let us try our strength with the state level elections. Let's participate. Let's participate in the local government, state assembly, and what have you elections. If we are we are powerful enough to send a message, then it's politics. Believe you me, all power, all those craving to get a power will rush to us and meet us. That's the main thing we are talking about. So unless we do that, actually, we cannot. We are not prepared. That's just what I'm trying to say. The time is not on our side. This is leadership. Even to develop a manifesto of a party that you need to convince people to agree with you. We've had an expectation recently, and a lot of people feel disappointed, and some end up being frustrated because they had high levels of expectations which were not even close to being met. So how do you kind of reorient people, reassure them, and get that optimism in them again that it's not gonna be the way it were? Because of course you need to convince people to believe with you. So I think that's let me just end it here. We need to focus more on our region and have sort of well articulated blueprint and course of action. We should also have a time frame that we think we are going to achieve those actions. But definitely we have to invest in the media, both print and electronic. And without that, definitely we are not going to go anywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that insight. Absolutely. About enlightening and educating the people and empowering them. The power is with the people. So next we'll move on to Marzouk.
Okay. Hi. It is good listening to all of you with your beautiful comments, and it is also nice that the diversity of contents and participants as well. We have people from Wuhan to Aberdeen to to Saudi Arabia and so on. Of course, these are the future of northern Nigeria. So basically, there is one thing I think has been skipped. As Baba Usman has said earlier, and other commentators have said, the current political actors or politicians in Nigeria, of course, they have many, but then there is also one thing we tend to forget they have, which placed them at an advantage. They have the social capital because they are always with the people, going to their wedding fatihas and condolences. They also try to come to their aid in need. And from the little I know about our cultural peculiarities, people would want to build trust first and would also like to deal with people they see every day, people that are present, and then as well people would love to engage with people they can trust. In northern Nigeria, there is this huge, I don't know what to call it, mistrust probably between the educated or the liberal minds. There is this conspiracy in place that people try to make the people who are educated, who have Western educated, who have PhDs, who are professors, people in NGOs, people at a higher level civil service. There is this. It can't be called discrimination, but there is that discrimination of sort towards them, and the common man doesn't feel to identify with them. And if we really are serious at this, if we really want to engage politically, especially, or if we want to start at the grassroots, we have to start also building social capital in our respective constituencies. How many people know you in your constituencies? Your constituency, how many people can identify with you, how many people can trust you. All these things matter. Of course, the political actors have many, and of course, the common man is fed up. But then, is the common man able to trust me and you who are currently studying for a PhD in US and in UK? Do we interact with these people? Do we know their needs? That's one. Number two, of course, we should have a long-term plan. Everything should always depend on the sustainability of every plan depends on the long-term plan, of course. But then the people at grassroots have short-term immediate needs as well. How far can we come together and try to identify their common needs and also try to solve their immediate challenge? I mean, challenges of today, tomorrow, next week, next 3 months, within this year. And this is one way to build trust, and this is one way to get engaged at the grassroots, and this is also one way to hijack the system, or to or to force our way into this system. Believe me, there is this barrier they set, very thick wall they set,
that make people getting into grassroots politics very hard. And then the last thing I'm also going to say is we also have to be ready for the fight, because there are so many people that benefit from the monopoly of the system. While you are having your PhD at US or in Canada or in Saudi Arabia, those guys are there. They have nothing. They don't have a business. They don't have any certificate. So that politics is all they depend on, and they aren't gonna give you the only thing they have at a platter. So we also as well have to be ready for a fight. We have to strategize, and most importantly, try to get the common man to trust us. Thank you once again for the opportunity. It is nice speaking to all of you, getting your take on the matter, and I'll rest my case here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marzouk. I think we'll move on to Salis Uba. Fatima, are you there? Can you unmute him?
I am trying to unmute him.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam.
I am an accountant and supply chain professional. I'm currently doing my PhD in blockchain and supply chain at the University of Scotland in Glasgow. Though I'm in Abuja at the moment. It's quite interesting to be in the midst of politicians, potential politicians. Though I'm a friend of politicians and I